Hi there. If you're watching this on YouTube, or you're wanting to watch any of my content on my channel, or both for that matter, I would strongly recommend hitting the subscribe button and comment and like on any videos if you may wish, because this is a general audience channel. Also, this video is not made for kids, it is for older fans and adults alike. So please sit back and enjoy the video. James's First Day. Written and told by July Leonard. As Thomas was relocated to Wellsworth Yard to learn a lot about trucks, Edward was relocated to Vicarstown, then Knapford, to arrange coaches and trucks for the bigger engines. But as a few weeks wore on, he was now struggling to keep up with the workloads. One day, as Eagle left the island of Sodor behind, another engine was exchanged. The engine is the same classification with the same wheels as Eagle, but painted black with red lining, a gold dome, and a yellow number 5 on both sides of his tender. "Edward, I would like to introduce you to James," announced the fat director, and he told Edward to show him around the yards. The two engines set to work arranging coaches and trucks. However, Edward soon found out that James was very full of himself. As the afternoon drawn in, James was rostered to take a goods train to the other end of the line to exchange another one to return. As he was arranging some trucks, Edward tried to advise him. "You'd better be careful when taking trucks, James," he cautioned. "They can get rather troublesome when being pulled by an unfamiliar engine." "You don't need to tell me how to handle trucks," said James. "I can handle them by myself, thank you very much." And with that, the guard blew his whistle, and James steamed away furiously. Edward sighed as he watched him leave, and then he went back to work. Meanwhile, James reached the station at Barrow and Furnace at the end of the line, and got turned around for the return journey. The trucks, for the returning goods train, were surprised to see a different engine backing down towards them. "Who's that?" they squeaked. "We want a proper engine, not a black tar monster on wheels." This made James very cross. "Black tar monster on wheels?" he snorted. "I'll give you black tar monster on wheels. Take that!" And he gave the trucks a bump. The trucks snickered, but then they smelled something. "What's that burning smell?" one truck asked. James saw a bit of smoke and blew it away, right before the guard blew his whistle and he steamed away. What no one realized was that James's brake blocks were outdated and made of wood instead of metal, like most other engines. Throughout the day and before he came to the railway, he and his driver had been trying to hide the fact from everyone. James was making good time and was trying to get the job done with as soon as possible, so hopefully he can pull some coaches, which he considers as pleasant. Presently, he reached Gordon's Hill and started to climb up, despite he felt the drag from the trucks. "Steady, James," called his driver. "There's plenty of time." But James was too focused on getting up the hill. Eventually, he reached the top, and the driver braked. Then it happened. There was a loud whoosh, and James felt a sudden burst of heat from his wheels, and he couldn't stop. He realized that his brake blocks were on fire. The truck saw an opportunity for mischief. "Now!" they shouted, and with a bump, they lurched James forward and went faster down the hill. "Help! Help! They're pushing me! They're pushing me!" he shouted, while whistling and passing Edward's station. On, yelled the trucks. Still whistling, "Help! Help!" poor James disappeared under a bridge. "I'd like to teach those trucks a lesson," said Thomas the Tank Engine. Meanwhile, a deer was nearby the track, about to eat some grass, when it heard a scream. "Ah! Oh, dear!" shouted James as it ran off across him. "Help! Help! Help!" he continued. On, faster, faster!" giggled the trucks. "I don't want to go any faster," James called. "My brakes!" he continued. "Help! Stop! I want to stop!" A mile ahead, there was a sharp bend. James and his crew knew that they were going too fast to stop in time. "We'll have to jump for it," said the driver, and he and the fireman did. "I'm going off the rails!" exclaimed James as he came off and plowed into some earth. James came to rest in a field as he was tilted to one side, whilst some of his trucks were piled up in pieces behind him, and a cow appeared and mooed in front of him. His driver and fireman walked over to examine him all over to see if he was hurt. "Never mind, James," they said. "It was those wooden brake blocks. We always said they were no good." Presently a familiar whistle was heard, and who should come was a certain blue tank engine named Thomas with the breakdown train. After James was taken back to the sheds, the fat director promised him proper brakes and a new coat of paint, and for a branch line for Thomas. James broke the silence. "'Excuse me, sir," he said. "What color should I be?" "I was considering you to be blue like Thomas," he said. "But I guess you could choose an alternative if you like," he finished. James paused for a moment. "How about red?" he suggested. "Then it's settled," replied the fat director. "But who will fetch our coaches, sir?" burst out Gordon. "Tender engines aren't supposed to shunt." "I don't know, Gordon. Perhaps you'll have to fetch your own until I get a smaller engine like Thomas," came the reply. But, Gordon stammered, but the other engines just laughed, although Gordon was still impressed with Thomas's performance. James spoke up. "Edward, I'm sorry if I was so rude to you earlier." "That's all right," replied Edward. "Anyone can make mistakes now and then. And speaking of red," he went on, "I used to wear red back in the days of my old railway on the mainland, which was called the Furnace Railway." A few days later, as Thomas was ready to leave for his branch line, an engine that he and Edward had never seen before, the engine was now painted red with black lining and proper brake blocks, but with his gold dome and yellow number 5 still there. And that engine turned out to be none other than James. "James, is that really you?" asked Thomas. "Of course it is," replied James and laughed. "How do you like my new paintwork?" "Wow, James, you look splendid," said Thomas. "I know," came the splendid reply. "I'm ready for my coaches." "We're Thomas's coaches now," said a coach whose name is Annie. "That's right," added another whose name is Clarabelle. "And he's got his very own branch line too." "Off to see the world now, Thomas?" asked Edward. "Yes, Edward," Thomas giggled as he left the yard. "I am." As Thomas was passing Knapford Station, Gordon was resting at platform 1 when a whistle woke him up. "Wake up, lazy bones! Really useful engine coming through!" called Thomas and laughed as he passed. "Oh, the indignity!" moaned Gordon. As for James, he was enjoying his life on the island of Sodor as a special mixed traffic engine, but he still had a lot to learn. However, there did come a time when James, but the rest, they say, is history.